Okay, our time has arrived and we were called to order the Lander County Commissioners meeting, Town Board of Battle Mountain and Austin, Board of County Highway Commissioners for December 5th, 2019. And we welcome you all to our meeting this morning. We are going to start with our Pledge of Allegiance. If you all would stand and salute our flag with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now if you join us in a moment of silence, please. Thank you all. Lander County Commissioners may break for lunch from 12 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. Any agenda item may be taken out of order, may be combined for consideration by the public body, and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Commissioners' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. And Commissioner Clark, I'll start with you. Have anything to report for us?
No, I don't have any meetings.
Okay.
No report.
No report, Brian, Kathy?
Attended the Battle Mountain General Hospital special meeting last night, and they ended up closing the Kingston Clinic on January 1st of 2020, so.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
I don't have any.
Thank you. I do have just a couple of things. I did attend the Austin Chamber meeting, which was on the 2nd of December. They're getting ready for our nativity, which actually is next Tuesday at 5:30. It's our live nativity that we do every year and celebrate with hot chocolate and cookies and such. So that's our big festivity. Yesterday, on the 4th, I did have a Justice and Public Safety meeting, a teleconference meeting. I had reported last time, actually, on the Recovery Disaster Act, and that was passed by the House. It's been sitting in the Senate for some time, but hopefully they will take some action and it will be housed in an agency that can handle it, because one of the things that's been the big concern of NACO is the Recovery Act for any kind of disaster takes forever to roll out the funds. I mean, sometimes up to 2 to 3 years. And that's just really unacceptable for the public and for the people that are in these types of disasters. So it's sitting in the Senate, and we have that amendment to it, hoping it will go through so they can, as I said, house it with an agency that can roll out the funds rather quickly. So that's the main one we're looking at. Also had a LEADA meeting yesterday, and I did want to report that, in case you did not know, the governor has appointed the new director, our new GOED director, and that is Mike Brown, who has a good history in rural information too, so hopefully that will work out well. The LEADA committee was very concerned about things coming up and the new projects and what they were going to put before us with the budget, so they're working very hard on that to bring us a lot more information. So that's all I have. We'll go to staff reports. Our county manager, Keith.
So the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that took place over the last several months was our audit. And our audit was complete, and we have done quite a bit better than we did in past years. We still have some things that we're going to be cleaning up. There'll be some new policy coming forth to the board to adopt, some recommended policy to adopt and move forward with. Regarding our credit cards. We need to come up with a solid policy on our credit cards and how they're used and tracking and so forth of that. The other things that were discussed, bank reconciliations and some water sewer payments and so forth. We have already had a meeting, myself, Sadie, Cindy, we all sat down and Juicy, and we discussed how we would better these things for the future. So that'll all be coming to you probably next meeting will be our audit report from our auditors. We have a meeting next week, myself and Public Works Bert have a meeting with the Department of Transportation regarding the Highway 50 project. They're looking for some easements, or some permission to pass through some easements when they do that project in the south. Monday, I'll be attending the Tax Commission meeting regarding our tax waiver, our SECRT tax waiver. We just did receive the Attorney General opinion on whether we can or cannot apply. I just gave it to Ted literally 10 minutes ago to review. But bottom line is the Tax Commission is gonna tell us whether we can or cannot continue with our tax waiver. So we'll know that Monday by probably about 11 o'clock a.m. Our airports continue to move forward, like I had brought up the last several meetings. We did get that additional $2 million for GA, General Aviation Airports. We were the only airport, Battle Mountain was the only airport in the state to receive that additional $2 million. We're looking at the expansion of the taxiways with that additional money to help out with our air tanker program. Our lands bill, and Kyla's here, our lands bill is finally close to being presented. Amade will present it to the House, and Rosen will go to the Senate. And that looks like it'll be the end of December or the first part of January. So we will be, our lands bill's moving forward. And hopefully that will pass through and be adopted into law and really benefit Lander County. One of the things that we did look at was the Austin Airport. Austin Airport is a BLM right now. It's a dirt runway. And one of the things that we have discussed doing is once the lands bill goes through, and if it's passed and adopted into law, we will be able to apply for FAA grants for the Austin Airport, which we'll be able to pave it, which will give access to the air tankers, which will also give access to our medical transports, our fixed wing transports. And that's all I have.
Did we get any interest in pool walk membership? Anybody come by?
Have you received anything on the public lands committees?
No, not yet.
It's a continuous advertisement that we do for the boards. It's in every.
I had two people that said they were interested, but.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any letters yet, so, I mean.
You need to identify yourself, Karina, please.
Karina, if they wanna email it to me too, some people don't know they can email it, so they don't have to come down. They can email it to me too, or to the clerk's office, and we can go ahead and get it for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. We move into public comment for non-agendized items only. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing and/or attend and make comments on any non-agenda item at the board meeting, if any, and discussion of those comments at the discretion of the board. All public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person, again at the discretion of the board. Reasonable restrictions may be placed on public comment based upon time, place, and manner, but public comment based upon viewpoint may not be restricted. Any public comment? Please come on out.
Thank you. My name is Jerry Annis. You might recall that last year you appointed me as your representative to the Lander County Conservation District. You haven't seen much of me since due to my work schedule. I have, however, changed that work schedule specifically so that I can be more of a presence here. Give you a real quick update. Number one, the Lander County Conservation District was recently awarded the Conservation District, State Conservation District of the Year. The plaque that we have should be sitting in Shannon Berman's office. She's the keeper at this time. Also want to let you know that we continue to be very appreciative of the support and funding that the county commissioners provide to us, and that's a big part of why we received that award. One of the things that we are doing now, we started this year, is every other month we have for lack of a better term, an informational meeting. we conduct as little business as possible and try to bring in speakers that are relevant to our goals. This next Tuesday is our next informational meeting, Tuesday the 10th at 5:30, and we'll have a 1-hour presentation by the Sagebrush Ecosystem Technical Team, which is in the process of putting together the 2020 sage grouse plan. So we're looking for a real good attendance. Any of you that might be interested, it'll only take an hour. Please join us at the Extension office. With that, if you have any questions for the CD, happy to answer. Otherwise, I probably almost used up my 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Yeah.
on your award.
That's outstanding, and thanks for volunteering.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you coming to give us the update, and thanks for
Thank
your
you.
dedication.
Yeah, feel free to contact me anytime you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Any other public comment? Okay, we will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine, may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action, without extensive discussion. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed, and acted upon separately during this meeting. Consent agenda materials are available at the Lander County Clerk's Office for viewing, and copies are available for a nominal charge. Number 1 is approval of December 5th, 2019 agenda notice. Number 2, approval of May 23, 2019 meeting minutes. Did I say number 2? Oh, okay. Number 3, approval of June 27, 2019 meeting minutes. Number 4, approval of July 11, 2019 meeting minutes. Number 5, approval of July 25th, 2019 meeting minutes. Number 6, approval of October 10th, 2019 meeting minutes. Number 7, approval of October 24th, 2019 meeting minutes. Number 8, approval of November 7th, 2019 meeting minutes. And number 9, approval of November 25th, 2019 special meeting minutes. And number 10, approval of payment of bills. We did receive June 27th meeting minutes. If anybody has anything on that one. Otherwise, I do need to pull out the payment of bills. We need to do that separately. So I'm looking for an approval for number 1 on the agenda notice and number 3 for the June 27th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Brian made the motion, Kathy seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving to the payment of bills. We need to pull out a few checks. Mark, did you have anything to pull out this time?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Brian is pulling out check number 205702, 205777. We'll pull that one. For Judy, we pull out number 205759. And for me, we pull out 205775. So if I could have an approval on the rest of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Kathy made the motion, Brian seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take Commissioner Allen's first. If I could have a motion to approve check number 205759.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Brian made the motion, Kathy seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Thank you, Judy abstains, and that passes. My check is number 205775.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Kathy made the motion, Brian seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and I abstain. And Brian's check is 205702 and 205777.
So moved.
Kathy, you made the motion?
I did.
I'll second.
Thank you, Judy. All
Aye.
those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Thank you, and you're abstaining because?
That are made to my employer.
Thank you, and that takes care of all of our bills. Moving on to our commissioners section. It is 9:10, we're going to do a public hearing. This is for discussion and possible action to approve or disapprove the adoption of ordinance 2019-01, amending Title 15, Chapter 12 of the Lander County Code by repeal and amendment to adopt the latest building codes and provide simpler updating thereof.
Commissioner, we need to table this until the 19th. We had some advertising issues that put us 8 days instead of the required 10. Has to do with the way the newspaper publishes on the holidays. So what we've done to prevent this, or to fix this, we actually had a call into the Attorney General's office regarding advertising. And we are able to advertise in the Reno Gazette Journal. It is a circulation that's within the county. So it is now in the Reno Gazette Journal to meet the 10-day requirement for advertising. So we did have to put this off.
Okay, with that, does that fall under our next public hearing too?
Yes, and I've discussed it with the district attorney, so we should be fine there.
No, it doesn't fall under the next one. If you're referring to number 2.
Number 2 we can go on with?
Yes. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay,
I
so we're
misunderstood.
tabling number 1.
See, number
Okay.
2 is not an ordinance, Commissioner,
Okay,
so it doesn't require the 10 days.
got it.
It only requires 3 days under the open meeting law.
Okay,
But back to number 1, we will meet our deadline for the ISO, the first week of January.
that was
It will not be-
postponed until the 1st of January for
Yes.
us?
Yes, it was. They gave Anna an extension till the first week of July. And it is in the Reno Gazette Journal, correct, Sadie, it did get in? So it is in with plenty of, in excess of 10 days. So, and it's also in the Elko and the Bugle.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. For number 2, that public hearing is at 9:30, so I'm going to pass that right now. We'll come back to that on the time that it was scheduled. And we'll move to number 3. Commissioners, for possible action to approve or disapprove use of the old jail to the Battle Mountain Silver Seniors for gift wrapping and storage fundraiser on the weekends through Christmas Eve, and to request that the water and the heat is provided during that time.
I don't see any problem with doing this.
Okay, we have verified the electricity, actually the power is on.
Yep.
So all we're concerned about is a motion to turn on the water and heat and let them use the jail.
Correct.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, Brian made the motion, Art seconded it. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 4, University of Nevada Cooperative Extension, possible action to approve or disapprove the budget carryover spend down plan as presented by Holly Gatsby and the University of Nevada Reno Extension. Here she is. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. Holly Gatsky for the record, Cooperative Extension Area Director. It is a couple of years ago, they passed a requirement for us to have an audit to make sure that we're spending county monies properly. And with that, she passed a motion regarding that they wanted to have some idea of how much carryover was put into counties. Several counties had actually gotten a little too high a numbers, and so there was a discomfort with it. They indicated, just as a general rule, 10% carryover for counties, unless the counties themselves decide something differently, which is why I'm here. Being that, Lander County is a bit of a boom-bust risk depending on how mining's going, 10% isn't much of a carryover in case something happens in the changes in tax income and such, and therefore impacting the extension budget. So I wanted to bring forward to you the opportunity for you all to decide what you would like for a carryover and have it recorded so that we can say that we're following what the county wants to do for carryover with your funds. So I proposed and just put a draft out there. I did talk to Pat, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Kathleen, but I was hoping to get feedback of what would be comfortable and whether we could get an agreement between us so that we can plan our budgets going forward. We do have a little more carryover than normal simply because we've had the extension educator position empty, and that makes it a little harder for the staff to spend out money, and we want it spent well, not just frivolously, of course. So if I could get some feedback of the thoughts of what I've put forward and whether there's a comfort with that type of discussion. What I've proposed is 1 year's of expenses being a maximum amount of carryover, and then if there is any extra beyond that, which we do have a bit right now, that would be spent out in programming in the next 5 years. And that would actually be excellent right now because we could bring a new person in, and I will talk about that in a bit when we get this done. And they would have some money to start up some new programs, which I think is really needed in Lander County.
Well, first off, we're talking about budgetary. I have nothing in my pack that shows the budgets, what's spent, so I can make an intelligent decision. So,
Yeah, my comment too.
Do we have the amount of carryover?
We have nothing,
It should have been in that document that was proposed.
I have no doubt.
I have no document.
I actually have, the request I have was actually filled out by Shannon, because we didn't get anything from you, I think.
Oh, really? Because it
Yeah.
was,
I
Yeah,
didn't get anything else.
we didn't,
my apologies, because I had a document ready and sent forward, I believed, and so somehow
did you
there's a
send it to me? Or who did you send it to? Cause I don't have anything from you, Holly. I
Yes,
really
okay,
don't.
no.
And I was thinking, when
There-
you were saying that, I'm thinking, I never got anything. I
There
hope you
was a
did.
disconnect between people then, and I'm going to take blame for that out of my office. It should have come to you, a document, a proposed document, and in that had proposed carryover and everything. And I have to admit, I tried to just pull it up on my computer, and it's,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So
good.
I do have something, but my apologies. What I could do is, we could decide a comfort level, so, I believe it was around 90,000 was 1 year's expenses, and I think you're sitting at about 150 or 60,000 carryover right now.
And so 10%, we'd be talking 15, 20,000?
10% would only be about 8,000-9,000.
8 or 9,000?
And there's where I feel very uncomfortable.
Well, the other thing is on the tax roll, I mean, we have a set amount that's put aside for cooperative
Right.
extension.
Right.
And I think you're looking at a new vehicle also.
Yes.
When we get into extension
You know, possibly
educators.
needing,
So,
you know,
Yeah, I'd be comfortable for rolling over the whole amount, but.
Well, I'd prefer to have all the documentation so I can make an informed decision.
Me too, I would like, and I have, for, in the future, that if we don't have this information by the time that we set the, agenda, then we don't put it on there just for this happening, because things get forgotten, we sit here like this.
yeah, my apologies, I thought it was in, so.
I'll support Kathy and Brian.
Okay, so we will defer this, can we get it on for the 19th?
We can get it on, sure, would you make sure that I get that like
Oh, most
today?
definitely, yes, yeah, no, we've got the document, I thought it had come through, so my apologies, yes, yeah, I can get it to you right now,
Okay.
so,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
right,
I'm
right.
sorry, I hope you can, okay.
My apologies, I will while I'm here, and I don't know if I'll be able to come back on the 19th, because I believe, if my memory's right on my calendar, I will
Perhaps you
be
could call
booked.
in.
I could call in, so if
Okay.
that's okay with
That's fine.
you all. The other thing is I do want to give you an update. We have been going through the hiring process. We really thought we had a candidate, in fact, an offer out, and it fell through, and then he couldn't find housing that suited his needs. It was very disappointing, but we have relaunched moving forward to open it up and go again. I do say that we're looking at trying to find a broader spectrum of applicants that are more, I guess you would say, practical. I don't know. We tended to get quite technical thinking applicants, so we're relooking, and I'm not just going to run it the same way as I did last time, is what I'm saying. You don't do the same thing, expect a different result. We're going to try change it up. I've talked to Pat about that, if you have any other feelings too, but really what we're trying to do, and the committee members have been excellent, they're volunteering their time, local people are on the committee as well. And so we're gonna try put more things in the application, information about the population of the community, and the expectation of them thinking about all of the extension areas, agriculture, natural resources, horticulture, but youth and family are important, and nutrition and health. So we will be seeking for people to be a little more community-minded is what we're aiming for. So I will just let you know, my apologies, I can't tell you it isn't due to effort. We've been putting a lot of effort into it, but we're gonna get it, and we're gonna keep going until we get a good person for you on the ground, okay?
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
And I'm sorry about the inconvenience for you.
Okay, no, well, you know, obviously I think something might have slipped up in my office, so we'll make sure we get it right, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for showing up, because that means a lot.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, number 5, Recreation Center, for possible action to approve or disapprove a free day to the public during the all-class reunion on July 25th, 2020.
Good morning.
I think we have this
Yeah.
properly agendized.
Yes, Sean Baker for the record. We were here last meeting, and the all-class reunion decided they wanted, or was asking for a free day for the all-class reunion, people that were attending. And then from the direction of this board, you guys wanted it to be opened up to the community. So now we're back here with the proper agendized for, I'm asking the rec center be free to the community July 25th, 2020.
So my only question on this is if we approve this, does it open the door for anybody that has any sort of party, that wants to be able to use it, type of a thing?
That day, you mean?
No, I'm just saying for future use of the rec center, is what I'm saying.
I think it would have to be on a case-by-case basis. Come in
That's
front
what I'm
of-
saying.
come in front
If
of
we do it
us.
on a case-in-case basis, if you approve one organization, would you not approve them all? I mean, you know, that's, you're gonna get into a thing that's kind of similar to the civic center, you know?
Oh, I see, okay.
Brian, and I think approving it for the whole community as a whole, you're not approving it to this committee. You're saying it's just open to the community of Lander County.
So let's say if we have something come up in the future where somebody in the public wants to hold a party for something, we just make it another community day? Where the whole community could use it?
That would be a possibility, yeah. I would state
If it's
that
something
more
like
so
that.
than directing, singling out one committee. I agree.
Well, the 4th of July, we have, it's open, free to the public.
Right.
So, I mean, there are certain times, I don't think, you know, private parties or, as Sean said, this is open to the entire community.
And
So,
private parties are usually handled in-house unless they're asking for it for free, but usually private parties pay per hour.
I'll make a motion that we approve, a free day to the public during the all-class reunion on July 25th, 2020.
I'll second.
Judy made the motion and Kathy seconded it. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'm gonna say my famous quote, I think it should be free every day. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and that passes.
Thank you,
Next.
Commissioners.
Okay, we are really, really close to 9:30, and I'm not gonna go on to number 6. I'm gonna just, let's just go off the record for a few minutes, and we'll wait till 9:30 for the hearing on number 2, okay? That way we can talk and not have to worry about it being recorded. Thank you, Jeannie. It is 9:30 and we are calling our meeting back to order. 9:30 is our time for a public hearing, number 2. For possible action to approve or disapprove the acceptance of a business impact statement with a motion, if approved, stating, this rule does not impose a direct and significant economic burden upon a business, nor does it directly restrict the information, operation, or expansion of a business. Therefore, we approve moving forward with an ordinance initiating the dissolution of the Lander County Combined Sewer and Water District Number 2, General Improvement District, and its Board of Trustees.
So why did it change of heart all of a sudden?
In what regard?
On their part, the letter, I mean, they were fighting us and then all of a sudden it's complete acceptance.
Oh, this doesn't have anything
It
to
had
do with their
nothing
change
to
of
do
heart.
with this, but what they wanted to do, their change of heart is because they want the county to hire their employees.
Oh,
And I said, we can't negotiate that. And I said, plus your change of heart is not gonna alter the county's path or procedure in this, because you had 90 days in which to agree.
Right, okay,
You chose not to, so we're proceeding in the direction we're
I see.
proceeding. And part of that direction is a business impact statement. The staff has determined by a report, Keith has signed it, attested to
right,
the accuracy of that report. And the statute says that at the meeting immediately preceding the adoption of the initiating statute, they must determine by motion, and the motion set forth in the
Right.
agenda, that it's no economic impact, or if it is, that
Right.
it is. But the staff has determined that it's not. We haven't received any letters, I believe, that, I think the only information we received is positive,
right,
but the business owners have not given any negative
okay.
responses back. If that answers your question.
Yes, it does, thanks, Brenda.
And because the rule is now we have to do business impact statements on our ordinances, that's why.
Gotcha.
So,
So, do we just need a motion, or do we
we
need
need
to
a
read
motion
this?
with exactly what it says on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Okay, but we don't have to read anything.
No.
No, you haven't,
No.
no.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the business impact statement. This rule does not impose a direct and significant economic burden upon a business, nor does it directly restrict the formation, operation, or expansion of a business. Therefore, we approve moving forward with an ordinance initiating the dissolution of the Lander County Combined Sewer and Water District Number 2 General Improvement District and its Board of Trustees.
I'll second.
Thank you, Judy made the motion, Kathy seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, and that passes.
Since it is a public hearing, if you, on the record, call and see if anyone has any statements.
Okay.
I
Are there
don't
any
think anyone's
statements
here.
from the public regarding our public hearing on this agenda item?
Thank you, Tina.
Do I need to add in there, authorize, the county manager and, Kyla to sign?
Well, the county manager, under the NRS, has a duty to sign it prior to your signature.
Okay, I was just, in the document in the backup, it's got Keith and Kyla both listed, so,
But that's because you were given a copy rather than the original,
okay,
and he's already signed it to me.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, do we have anyone from Austin that wants to make any comments?
No, nobody's here.
Okay, thank you. Well, with that, we will close our public hearing and move on to agenda item number 6. Sheriff's Office for possible action, pre-budgetary approval request for fiscal year 2020-2021 in the amount of $15,000 each year for a period of 5 years for the Sheriff's Office Taser Replacement Program, or to fully fund the program in fiscal year 2020-2021 budget in the amount of $74,600. Good morning.
Commissioners. So we brought this forward to you. This is a fiscal impact for the fiscal year of 2020-2021. However, in the backup documentation, you saw there's 2 quotes that we received from Taser, and there's approximately $10,000 difference in that. And the reason behind that is if we enter into the agreement prior to the end of December, we receive an additional discount in that amount. It still won't impact the budget until the July 1st, 2020 budget. But we do want to, or did want to bring it to the commission to see if you would pre-approve that particular budget item we intend to put in so that the sheriff can sign the agreement. So a little history on this. About 4.5 years ago, we entered into a Taser replacement program with now a company called now Axon from Taser. And it's for less lethal equipment for the police officers that work the streets and the jails. And we make yearly payments to that program over the past 5 years. That particular program is ending, and the tasers we now use are at what they call end of life. So we are due to either replace them with a current version of that, or to enter into the new program that they are implementing now. So we would prefer to enter into the new program, which would provide the newest equipment they have to offer, as well as all of the training and live equipment that we would need as well. We've budgeted in the past 5 fiscal years for about $6,000 per year, and we had an additional upfront cost 4.5 years ago as well. They were, if you look at the quotes, the discounts, they are providing roughly $24,000 credit for what we've paid over the 5 years, as well as trade-in. If we are able to enter into the agreement for the new equipment before December 31st, then they will add that additional discount of about $10,000 based on the quotes that we have. So we're asking just for a pre-approval for the next fiscal year for this particular budget item, that you would commit some funding, whether it's the full amount or the yearly for the 5-year program.
If we do the full funding, we save, right?
It doesn't matter which way you go.
So
for that
just as long as we
particular
enter into
program,
the contract before the end of the year.
as long as we agree to enter the contract, we save roughly $10,000
Yeah, I mean,
more.
if you need a taser, they say we just fund them now. I mean, there's no sense in stretching it.
Well, no, he doesn't need them funded now, it's just pre-approval.
Well, pre-approval for the 2021
Right.
budget, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then you can actually decide which way you wanna go when we have our budget hearings.
Right.
So with the new tasers comes a new experience for the officers? It's fun.
I'll make a motion that we pre-approve the pre-budgetary request by the sheriff's office for the fiscal year 2020 for the TASER program.
I'll second.
Do we need an amount in that?
No, we can't have an amount.
Can't have an
because
amount.
Legally, we can't, we're not in the budget process, so we can't approve any dollar amount in the budget. But it's my understanding that he's asking for pre-approval of a direction, rather than the amount.
Right.
And at the budgetary process, you can certainly approve the amount.
Okay.
Just as a suggestion for the budget process, rather than approving the $15,000 a year, because this is a 5-year period, the recommendation, I did speak with Cindy about this, would be to fund the whole 74.6 and just put it into Robert's budget and allow him to roll it over, rather than you, the commission, approving 5 years worth of a.
But we're not doing that.
Well,
We
we're-
don't
yeah.
have that.
I'm just saying, as a recommendation
Oh.
for the budget workshop.
At
just
the
to
Well,
keep
you
it
can
in
bring that
mind.
back during the budget
Yeah,
hearing.
Okay.
so I'll second Judy's motion.
Okay, so Judy's motion actually was entered into the contract, did you say under the budget? How did you-
No, I said that we're going to pre-approve for the budget for fiscal year 2021 for the TASER program. So we're basically saying,
Good
yes,
enough.
we pre-approve this.
Got it, we just reapproved the contract, okay.
All right.
And Brian seconded it. Any other discussion? I just have a quick question, and that's, there's only a couple companies that do tasers, is that correct?
There's one,
This is it?
this is it.
Well, that's a choice, isn't it? Well, it's nice they're working with us. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commission, and I think I missed it, so it's, my name's Robert Quick for the Sheriff's Office. I think I missed that at the beginning.
Thank you. We are moving into planning, number 7, for possible action to approve or disapprove a parcel map application for Riley Cynic to combine 2 parcels into 1 parcel located at 670 Faded Sage Drive and 685 Yellow Brick Road in Battle Mountain. The APN 010-280-29 and 010-280-30. It's zoned A1. Ms. Kyla.
Heather Bright for the record. Unfortunately, the person couldn't be here today because they had a family emergency. I hope that doesn't cause an issue moving forward with this. It was approved at the last planning commission. This is just because he's putting his house in the middle of his 2 parcels, so he needs to combine them so he's able to put his house. There's no additional wells being put in, no additional septic, you're actually taking away the possibility of an extra septic out there. Everything looked great on the map, and so just asking for approval of his combination.
I'll make a motion that we approve the combination of two parcels located at 670 Faded Sage Drive and 685 Yellow Brick Road, APN 010280-29 and 010280-30.
I'll second.
Thank you. Judy made the motion and Kathy seconded. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and that passes. Thank you, Kana. Number 8, County Manager. Update regarding the Battle Mountain Christmas Festival funding.
So last meeting, you asked me to come back with where we're gonna get the money from for the Christmas program. I sat with Cindy, we discussed it, and we will take it out of the 029 Equipment Fund, which the money is in there currently to cover this.
And for the record, that is this Friday?
Mm-hmm.
With
That's it.
the special lighting of the tree?
Yes, Friday. The festival starts at 6, and the tree lighting is at 7, and then the Parade of Lights is Saturday evening.
So it is exciting, and we hope that all of our citizens will be able to hear about this ahead of time, since we kind of put it together rather quickly, but what a job and what you've all done. So it's exciting to start another tradition.
And the tree is up, if you get a chance to drive by, it's next to the statue. What's the
Veterans.
Veteran statue, thank you, in the park. Apologies.
Thank you. Any other comments on that?
I have a comment. Cindy Clark for the record. I think that if we're gonna do this
Cindy,
for
could you-
Battle Mountain, we need to do this for Austin.
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that. That, as a matter of fact, it was brought up, and Austin is on target.
Okay.
We won't be able to hold any kind of a tree lighting ceremony this year.
Right, because it's only 19 days to
Right,
Christmas.
but we are doing the tree, and that will be part of our tradition again.
Okay, because last week I heard a comment in the audience that it was gonna be a Lander County tree and Austin was going to be expected to drive
Oh.
here. And I just don't think that's feasible in the winter, much less it's 180 miles. So I think Austin should have one. I actually think Kingston should have one, but that's my own opinion.
Thank you, Cindy. We appreciate that. Actually, we did not do one for Kingston, but they are their own town board, so we are doing it for the two areas, and we're excited about that too. So, what a way to celebrate Christmas. Thank you. Number 9, County Manager, for possible action to approve or disapprove an increase to the nationwide preferred compensation account, which is for PERS, from 28% to 29.25% for Patsy Waits and Art Clark, to bring them in compliance with the other county employees. And that is actually in lieu of PERS, because we are not qualified for PERS. And the PERS amount went up the 1.25 difference. So that's what this agenda item is on.
Yes, that's correct. So when the PERS went up, all the PERS qualified employees were brought up as per the budget and the requirement by PERS, but it was not covered in the nationwide, which Commissioner Waits and Commissioner Clark are in due to the fact they are PERS retirees. So it's a deferred compensation account. It's just to bring them up to the 29.25% deposit that everybody else gets in their PERS. They will get that in their deferred comp.
But why did you say you're not eligible for PERS?
Right, neither one of us.
Because
Once
they're
you're
out
out, once you're in PERS, that's it, unless it's hard to fill. So you get deferred compensation at the same rate of PERS.
So we're talking increasing the rate of 1.25% as your time as commissioners?
No,
No.
no. PERS had an increase to all employees in July. But ours, since we were PERS and we get it in lieu of PERS, didn't go up. And they noticed that it had not
So
gone
it's
up.
just something that was missed?
Yes.
Gotcha.
and it's 1.25%.
And that makes us
One
in the
point,
same
yeah.
amount as all the other
Yes,
county
I see,
employees.
I got it, I
I'll
understand.
make a motion to approve an increase to the nationwide preferred compensation account from 28% to 29.25 for Patsy Waits and Art Clark.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathy, made the motion, and Brian seconded that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and I will recuse myself, and,
For the obvious, I'm not saying anything.
okay, well, thank you. Number 10, county manager, for possible action to give direction to the county manager to advertise for an independent contractor to manage the Mountain View Golf Course Clubhouse, starting spring 2020.
So
All I can say is, amen. This should cure the problems.
yes, so we do have, the golf course is open. We do not have anyone with a current contract. So I'd like to get it out early enough to where whoever does get the contract, they have plenty of time to go in there and prepare for the season. We are in the middle of either buying the golf course or it is in our lands bill.
Where are we at on that process?
We're probably about 3 weeks to a month out from BLM getting back to us on where it's at. They were finishing up one of their studies.
I just thought that's where we were last month.
Well, I believe it was a 60-day study they had to do,
Yeah.
and so that's what we're waiting on, is them to get back to us. But it's in the possibility of purchasing it, or it's in our lands bill.
Now, Commissioners, I was talking to Kyla about this, and if it is in our lands bill, and we are trying to buy it, I think with your understanding and agreement that part of the negotiating process with the BLM is to try to get some clause in there, or to see if it's possible to, if we buy it from the BLM and the lands bill goes through, to try to see if we can get back any of our money at that point.
The other thing is to hold up on our actual contract to see if we do get it under the lands bill. And then, I mean, I can't see buying anything from BLM if we can most certainly get it through the lands bill.
But I don't anticipate the lands bill to go through that fast, so.
Well, we haven't had the golf course in a long, long time. It's still under our older lease. I mean, whether we buy it today or whether we buy it 2 years from now, is it gonna make a lot of difference? Because we haven't made conditions for a while. Actually, this is a whole nother agenda item. Maybe we wanna put it on the agenda and discuss it? Because right now, the agenda item is just actually to go out for an independent contractor, not the lands bill. And so we shouldn't even be discussing it.
Well, the independent contractor, it falls within the guidelines of an independent contractor. Can we legally hire an independent contractor? I mean, that's certainly within the confines of this agenda item. And technically, no, we can't even legally have the club house.
Right, but we've been doing that for
We've
years,
been doing it,
absolutely.
BLM's tired of it because they're getting in trouble for it.
Well, then we go legally into estoppel. I mean, there's so many things that we'd have to consider
This
and
is why
discuss.
we need to negotiate with BLM so we both have the same understanding of what's going down. We have to get their approval to do this.
Yeah, we've waited a long time to get to this point, and hiring an independent contractor will eliminate a lot of the problems that we've faced in the past. This is a good move for the county.
So, so the independent contractor, how is it different than what we just had in there?
What we've been doing for years, I mean, 20 years.
Right.
Is not consistent with the land that was given to us by the BLM.
Right.
The conditions, we have not been following the
So the independent
conditions.
contractor would be responsible for the whole thing?
No, just for the clubhouse and the golfing, which we would have to get permission, if we didn't buy it yet, or it hasn't gone through the lands bill, We would have to get permission from the BLM in order to do this.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying, so what I'm trying to clarify is how is that any different than what we've had? We've had a person that's been in there handling the club and the county.
It's no different, we've been doing it illegally.
Oh, I got you.
But I thought
Last time we were okay.
well, that's what I was gonna say, is I thought last time, because we did it on a lease basis.
It was
Is-
the most legal way we could do it.
Right, so we're making some progress in
We're
that
making, and BLM is happy with the progress we made, doing it the way we did it. But since we haven't even had approval by the BLM to even have the clubhouse, we still have to ask their permission to do it another year if we decide to do it, unless we buy it or we're giving it to it in the lands bill.
I mean, is there any thought about just hiring a pro to run it?
That's what I.
Yeah, that's what we can do once we own it.
We can do anything we want.
So we can't do it in the current status?
Technically not unless they let us.
Yeah, cause we did have a pro, what was it, 20
Right.
years ago or so?
Yeah, no, we did, but we were doing that wrong too.
Well, if we've been doing it wrong, why should we move forward until we're legitimately legal to do it?
Well, so that's what we're saying is we need, that's what I'm saying is we need to put something out ahead of time so that we can get the golf course opened when it's supposed to open. If it passes in the lands bill and we do get it that way, we're fine. If we're able to buy it, then we'll be fine. If not, we need to get with the BLM, discuss with them what we wanna do and set up an agreement
Right.
that allows us to do these things that are outside of the parameters of the original donation of the land from the BLM 25 plus years.
So why don't we do that first, that way until we either the land bill goes through or we buy it? Why wouldn't we go ahead and do that first,
But
for
what-
permission?
Because we haven't decided what to ask permission for, Commissioner.
And we don't know that the lands bill is a sure thing and how long it's gonna take and how many times it's gonna have to be modified. And, you know, the hearings and all that kind of stuff, that could take a long, long time, and then we're gonna be hanging with this same problem. And if we
go to the BLM and say, well, we want to open up our golf course, and these are our possibilities, they would say, well, you decide what you wanna do, and then ask our permission.
So we're soliciting for an independent contractor with the understanding that somebody's gonna say, hey, I'm applying for it,
Well,
right? And then there's a possibility that I might not.
if you guys approve the solicitation of an independent contractor, before we put it out to bid, I would suggest we talk to the BLM and see if that's
But that's what we're asking for right now.
right. But all we're asking for is a direction. Then we can go to the BLM and say, this is the direction
Okay.
that the county commissioners have decided. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I'm just not so
Okay.
sure I want, me personally, independent contractor or pro, I mean, that's where I'm at.
And then the pro would be an independent contractor,
Yes,
Oh, he would.
yes.
but.
So he wouldn't be hired, he wouldn't be a county employee.
Oh, no.
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 You're familiar with what happened to the school district on the independent contractor? They had a school psychologist that signed a contract for 10 years. And he came back and sued the school district and got all his back money for benefits, salary, and a few other things. We didn't have any clue.
Cause he didn't meet the definition of independent
Right.
contractor, and
Yeah.
he was considered an employee, so what we're saying is they have to meet the definition of an
Right.
independent contractor. And we have to watch that very carefully anytime we hire any independent contractor.
If we provide space and tools, they're an employee, even if they're under a contract, they're still an employee. An independent contractor has to supply their own stuff.
So at this point, we're only giving direction of how we
Yeah.
want to go about it.
That's my understanding.
Which, yeah, okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to give direction to the county manager to advertise for an independent contractor to manage Mountain View Golf Course Clubhouse starting in 2020.
I'll second.
Okay, Art made the motion, Brian seconded that. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Number 11, County Manager, for possible action to approve, disapprove the amended Nevada Energy Franchise Agreement that allows the town of Kingston to retain their 2% annual gross franchise fee for decision made on November 7th, 2019 by the Lander County Board of County Commissioners. So when we approved this, we took Kingston out of our contract with Nevada Energy. Now this agenda item actually allows us to amend the agreement with Nevada Energy to show them in writing that we are taking it out. And that's the backup that you have. Actually, it's on page number 10 that refers to the franchise fee applicable to Kingston only.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended Nevada Energy Franchise Agreement that allows the town of Kingston to retain their 2% annual gross franchise fee for a decision made on November 7, 2019 by the Lander County Board of County Commissioners.
I'll second.
And authorize.
And authorize the chair to sign.
Thank you, Brian made the motion, Kathy seconded that, any other discussion? Okay, that should take care of this one, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed?
City Solomon for the record, do you have a copy that doesn't have the draft on it for signatures by chance, or I'll touch base with somebody?
No, I will get one from Linda,
Okay.
from MB Energy.
Great, thanks.
Okay, we are officially going to take a 10-minute break. Our Lander County Commission meeting back to order, and we are in number 12. County Manager, for possible action to approve or disapprove the creation of a complete count committee for the 2020 census, and if approved, to develop a strategy. And this has been going on throughout the country for some time, and of course, as we reported before, Governor Sisolak has actually put in the whole committee and started that. And with us today is Kim Burgess on the phone, who is a partnership specialist under the U.S. Census Bureau. So we appreciate you being with us, Kim, and telling us if it's something we know we should be considering, but whether we work into the timeframes and population frames to actually take care of this. So it's all yours. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for having me on. So as stated, I am a partnership specialist with the Census Bureau. So I am based in Douglas County, but I have been covering pretty much the majority of northern Nevada, and especially the rural areas. There's just a little bit of an overview. So a couple of reasons why the census is important is, money and power. So money in terms of about $675 billion is allocated every year in federal funding amongst the states, and that's based on census data. For Nevada specifically, that's about $6.2 billion for fiscal year 2016. And then representation, and so Nevada actually gained a seat in the House of Representatives after the 2010 census. Again, that was based on the census data. So April 1st is our call to action day. So that's the official census day. And basically, we needed to have a day to build all of the promotional materials around, but people can actually start self-responding on March 12th, so a few weeks prior. And one of the things that's different about this time around is that people will have the option to respond online. That's not a requirement. That's not the only option. People can still respond on the paper questionnaire if they request one. And some areas actually might be receiving one automatically, especially particularly in areas that we call update leave, which is people who are not able to receive mail at their residential address and can only receive it at a P.O. box. Those people will receive a paper questionnaire at their physical address, as well as the option to respond online. So a little bit about the committees. So as you stated, the governor has formed a state complete count committee, and that is being led by the lieutenant governor. And so it's encouraged across the board through all of the counties and jurisdictions to form their own local complete count committee. Now, so I'll backtrack a little bit. So the complete count committee is the official name and title and term that we use. But I often find that when I say committee, that often translates to commitment in people's minds. And completely understandable. And it's difficult sometimes because they just don't always have the capacity. So what I want to try and do is break it down to what are the action items? What are we trying to accomplish? What do you want to try and accomplish within a committee or within a group of people? So first off is identifying what are the challenges or the unique challenges for for the county and the communities within the county, because I often know that sometimes there's different dynamics and neighborhoods and communities within a county structure. So what are those challenges? And what I mean by challenges is who are the people who might not respond for whatever reason? Another term that we use is, or you might have, or phrase is hard to count communities or hard to count populations. And so there is a list of what they've kind of identified nationwide as a trend for harder to count populations, people who might not respond. But again, I often find that people fit multiple categories. So, for example, children 0 to 5 is a category of harder to count. That was actually the largest undercounted population in the 2010 census nationwide. But rural communities, people who are distrustful of the government, transient populations, young adults, an aging population, those are all different categories as far as harder to count. But I realize that sometimes that's multi-tiered, so you can fit into multiple categories. So it's really looking at it from the bigger picture of what are the unique challenges of people who might not respond for your specific area. Then thinking about what are the organizations or who are the groups that may have a direct link or connection to those people, and then how do we work together to figure out a strategy, effective strategy, and to ensure an accurate count. And so I will say that pretty much all of the areas, all of the jurisdictions that I've already been working with, everybody's kind of taken a different approach. So this is not a one-size-fits-all as to, okay, you have to form this committee, and this is what, this is what it has to, the makeup has to be, and this is what you have to do. Everybody's taking a different approach. So one jurisdiction, for example, they solicited directly from the public, volunteers directly from the public to help with the effort. And, we had our first meeting about a month ago, and there was a good makeup of representation from people within different neighborhoods and communities, again, within the county. And then we identified what are some of the gaps as far as other areas that we may need to cover, as well as what organizations might need to be brought into the fold additionally. So like the library, the senior center and community center. Another county has taken, so their group is only about 6 or 7 people, and so one of the things with the recommendations is again, like the definition of the committees is designed around a much larger population area. So they recommend subcommittees. Well, in a county that's got a smaller population, that's just not going to be feasible. So, for example, they recommend a education subcommittee and a community organization subcommittee. Well, this county, they just ensured that they had representation from those particular areas and did not form separate subcommittees. So they have somebody from the school board who's on their group, and somebody from their senior center and their community chest, and then again some key people within the community. And then another example is another county is actually utilizing their local health coalition as the platform for their group, because it's a group that already meets on a regular basis and has the majority of the key players that would normally make up a complete count group or complete count for census activities. And then there's some that are just doing a mixture of both, having the feedback from the public and from different organizations. So with that said, that's kind of an overview of the census itself, and then the committees and different options that you all could go, and just looking for some direction as what you might think might be a good option for your county.
Okay, Kim, this is Pat, and right off the bat, I've read all the information. I've been, actually watching it since the governor signed this last April, and I'm still confused. I understand the point of it and what you mentioned, so many areas that are not counted for many of those reasons. When I look at our county, I didn't think we had that kind of groupings, but I'm confused over, I thought that's what census workers did. I mean, I've always had them at my house every 10 years knocking on my door saying, did you fill this out? And I thought they're the ones that go door to door and make sure people are taken care of and counted. So what's the difference between that count committee, what you want them to do, and an actual census worker that we're going to be to the areas that we're concerned about?
Okay. And I'm sorry that I didn't explain it further. So this group on the county level, on the local level, is not to go out door to door, and not to go out, again, directly door to door to people. The goal is, so you think of the census. A lot of us think of the census with, like you mentioned, people who go around door to door after. So that is actually that's the non-response follow-up piece. So when people come around door to door to ask about the census, and if they've filled it out, those are the people who have not responded yet. So the goal is to bring enough awareness up front and initially that we do not have to have as many of the workers going out to do that non-response follow-up, because that actually is the most costliest portion of the operation, is that non-response follow-up piece. So again, the goal is to bring the awareness early and encourage people to respond starting in March and through April, so that we do not have to have workers go out and go door to door for that.
Okay.
But the purpose on the local level is not for people to be going directly door to door to get, to have them fill out the census.
Okay, that makes sense. You're trying to save the census workers, all right? So all you want is this identification of the committees, supposedly, but these group of people to keep PRing to whatever group they are. If they're a church group, if they're American Legion, they simply say to all of their people, be sure and fill out your census, be sure and fill out your census, so we can make sure the tribes that we contact them. So all we need is a PR committee, basically. It's called a complete count committee, and do they actually meet, or can we just keep putting it out in the forefront? We keep getting it in the paper, we keep telling everybody we know, fill out your census. Is that pretty much it?
I mean, I think it would be helpful to have, I'm not trying to encourage more work or to make it harder. So it's whatever's going to work best for you all. I think it is so it is a big part of it is ultimately we want to amplify our message, right? Through different channels, and to get to people that we might not typically be able to get to. So, for example, with one of the ways like we're partnering with libraries, for example, is because we have the online option. Libraries typically have at least a few computers, and the libraries tend to be a trusted voice within communities. And so designating, the libraries, designating them as themselves as a space where people can go complete the census online, or they can even go and ask questions in regards to how to fill it out if they've received the paper form. And what I'm doing and what some of my other colleagues on the partnership side are doing is offering like a train the trainer for library staff. With the schools, integrating that through a program that we have called Statistics in Schools that talks about the importance of data, and it's a supplemental online program that's free for anybody to utilize. So we're encouraging that with the school districts to integrate that into their curriculum and their activities as a supplemental thing. And I had gone out in one area, for example, and I set up during one of their drive-through flu pods and passed out information regarding about the census to people who were going through there. So it's again, working with organizations or groups that have a connection with people who might not respond, and help getting that word out.
I have a question.
Sure.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, this is Commissioner Art Clark. I'm sitting here listening to what I believe is a request from Governor Sisolak for the rural counties to assist him in this project. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was that?
It sounds to me that Governor Sisolak is asking for assistance from the rural counties.
So this is, the committees is something that the Census Bureau has been encouraging, but yes, also on the state level, because you want to ensure an accurate count for individual communities, but the entire state as well. So we need help on all fronts of that, my primary focus has been within the rural areas, because I have found that, going out and presenting to some is that they do, some of the rural areas do feel underrepresented. So, doing whatever we can to help facilitate the most accurate count.
So your answer is yes, this new governor has asked for the rural's help. That's what I heard.
So he,
Okay, never mind. We all understand. We all understand.
Okay, so Kim, if we don't do a complete count committee, you're still gonna contact the schools and the libraries
Yes, I can.
Okay, because I guess I'm going, I don't think we have a lot of non-responsive people, but I don't know, and how would you know, but we don't have groupings that say, oh, that's one area that isn't hit. I'm sure if you had a non-responsive percentage for us in our county, it would be very low, because I think we all try and encourage everybody to do that. We understand the importance of the numbers, the money, our representation, and so forth. But I don't know if we need to form a committee to go on with that, if we can just keep publicizing it and putting it out there for everyone. If you do the schools and the libraries.
So in the, I have an electronic version of the presentation. I don't know if you have that in front of you, but there is a screenshot from our response outreach area mapper. It's a tool basically, so anybody can access it. You can plug in a specific county, a town, an address, and it will identify the census tract. It will give you the information. So the one that I have pulled up shows a low response score of about 25%. So that's saying that 25% is likely not to respond. And that is based on prior census response rates and just demographic information. But that is the one shot that I have pulled up. I didn't pull up the other census tracts, but.
Kim, Commissioner Sparks, you said you're going to work with the schools. How do you intend on working with the schools? Is it going to be something you send to the schools and the teachers distribute it to the children and encourage the children to take it home to their parents? Is that how you work that line?
So the Statistics in Schools program that I mentioned, that there was some things that was supposed to actually be coming out of our headquarters level that was supposed to be distributed to every school in the nation, talking about giving an overview of what that program was. I talk about that in general when I'm either making initial outreach to a school district or doing that through the county. But it is, so there's a number of ways to partner on the school side. One is through that Statistics in Schools program, because they have beefed it up a little bit more with 2020 focused.
But that's what I'm asking you. What does that program consist of? You speak of program. What does it consist of?
Okay. So it is online. It's online. It's free to access. It is K through 12. And there are different activities for each grade level. And it's built around integrating census, the importance of the census and census data. It is not subject-based. So in other words, it's not only built for a math class or a history class or a civics class. The teacher's guides are all downloadable. It tells you everything that you need to do the activity, and then all of the activity for the student is also downloadable, and that's all based online. Additionally, there's other games and activities that are on there as a resource. It's geared more towards the younger audience, so they have a printable, downloadable coloring book, for example, a word search, and there's even a census song that's housed on there. So I just met with a school district yesterday, and I had talked about that program to the principals there, and in another area, one of the classes did start integrating some of those activities into their lessons.
So basically, we're impeding the education of reading, writing, and arithmetic to educate our children on the importance of filling out the census.
I have a statement to make. You don't know me, this is Commissioner Art Clark again. I was a teacher for over 30 years, and you know what I'm hearing here? I'm hearing that you're gonna teach kids to make their parents responsible for an adult activity. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in over 30 years of education, for God's sakes. Parents need to be responsible, not their kids tell them to be responsible. Wow.
Kim,
I'm sorry, that was not my intention, and that is not what I am, and if that's coming off that way as that being the goal,
Well, that's what your
that is not-
curriculum does. That's what you explained your curriculum to us. My interpretation is you're teaching the kids to teach the parents to be responsible for an adult activity. I've heard enough.
Kim, this is Pat again. I understand what Commissioner Clark is saying, and it sounds like it's very informational of what the census is, teaching the children what the census is. But indeed, how is that going to help with the numbers that we have missed before? By educating the children of what a census is, that's fine. But how does that increase our numbers? I mean, I can't, anyway, for where we are, it's our decision now whether we are going to do a complete count committee. And I understand that you said 25% of the people are missed, but I don't think that holds up at all in our county. I truly do not believe that.
I want to ask the county clerk what she thinks our numbers of non-voters are.
Okay, just a moment. Sadie.
Sadie Sullivan for the record, Lander County Clerk. As far as non-voters, we have over 3,000 right now. I believe we have 5,000 to 6,000 residents in Lander County, but as far as to know that age, you know, of what's under 18, I mean, I don't have a number on that.
Okay. But we have pretty active votership in this county.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Well, Kim, thank you for the presentation. Patsy, are you ready for a motion?
I believe so. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Kim?
No, thank you.
We appreciate your time and getting to us and the information. Thank you very much. And we'll work diligently to be sure we do this. So we're ready for a motion.
I would make a motion that we disapprove the creation of a complete count committee for the
Second.
2020 census.
Okay, Brian made the motion. Art has seconded that. Any other discussion? Okay, once again, we've got the importance, and we will all work to make sure we try and pick up everyone and not miss anybody. We'll do all we can to cut down on your census workers. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you. You have a beautiful holiday season.
Thanks, Kim.
Let's take a break before this one, Patsy.
You want another quick break?
Are you still with us,
I think
Austin?
we may need it.
Okay.
I don't want to miss anything.
All right, we're gonna go a quick 5. Thank you. We call our meeting back to order. And we are on number 13. County Manager, for discussion and possible action regarding the performance evaluation of Keith Westergaard, including but not limited to termination, suspension, demotion, reduction in pay, reprimand, promotion, endorsement, engagement, retention, or no action, and all other matters properly related thereto. This is the wording per NRS 241.031. So with that, it is our yearly evaluation time, and the evaluations, performance evaluations were sent out to our commissioners. So at this time, we are going to share that information with each other and with the public on rating our county manager. And Commissioner Allen, I'm going to begin with you at that end, if you would like to share anything on the evaluation with us.
So I'm gonna go under interpersonal skills. And I don't know if you want me to read the,
However, you can share it, you can read it, it's certainly up to you, we're all open.
okay. So basically, under interpersonal skills, it states effectively with a variety of people, including those with conflicting or competing interests, respects individual differences and roles, and ensures all voices are heard, is tactful, helpful, and compassionate towards others, works to solve problems through persuasion, negotiation, and mediation, serves as a unifying rather than divisive leader within the association. So basically what I've observed is that Mr. Westergaard has done more in his tenure as a county manager to create a division of all aspects of Lander County. He has no vested interest in this county, and as a result, his loyalties, he directs his position to those that are going to best suit his interests. He's promulgated the lack of transparency and accountability, as well as discord through his position within the county. One of my other issues I have is regarding the performance and specific responsibilities regarding the agendas. You know, pretty much goes without saying our agendas are a common issue. Continual lack of proper backup documentation, if any. Improper wording of items. Inability to get the agendas and the agenda packages out, the material in a timely fashion. Again, we have a total lack of transparency to the public, who we answer to the public. We don't answer to each other. We answer to the voters and the public of Lander County. And my belief is more is better in that respect, is we need the transparency and the accountability.
I'll tag on number 4. My rating, Keith, for you on number 4 was needs improvement, and I'll state the reasons why. So I was a commissioner for a previous 4 years, so I got to see how in that time our agendas were put together, our packs were put together. What I'm seeing is that there's a lack of information that I would like to see personally as a commissioner. We had a perfect example today. And Sadie, you can help me on this, but I know like previously we used to have backup minutes that pertain to certain issues. They dig back, we'd have that. And the other thing that I don't see that I would like to see is recommended action. There was always a recommended action from our county manager, and the reason why I think that's important is we set policy and control finances. You're the face of Lander County. I'm interested in hearing what your recommendation is on certain actions, because you deal with the daily operations and might see particular angles or facets that I might not see as a commissioner, and that's important for me to hear from you what it is. So in my decision making, I have that to think with, and that's where I feel that there needs to be improvements on item 4.
Judy, did you have any more you wanted to add?
I'll wait. We can come back and.
Okay, Commissioner
Go ahead and let
Clark, I'll
someone else
call on
go.
you then.
Okay, my evaluation is satisfactory again. I'll just read you the little narrative that I scratched out. Keith maintains course even when he's attacked by others. By staying on course, Keith keeps the county moving forward with projects that are important to Lander County. I'm kind of amazed that Keith can keep his patience considering the situations that he encounters. Keith has good working relationship with employees. This is an important part of administrative management style. I've kept faith in Keith, even when he wasn't sure of my support. I too share the concern over agendas, and I've mentioned this in the past, and comparing them to the school district when I was on the school board, they just don't match up, and we do need the recommendations. I think I mentioned this in the past, recommendations from the county manager, and the backup materials. We have to have them, and I think that Commissioner Rancho said that if we don't have the backup materials by the time of the agenda, then we just won't put it on. Yeah, satisfactory, absolutely.
Thank you. Brian, do you want to continue with yours?
I think actually Kathy, would you like to go ahead and speak?
Oh, okay. The one that needs improvement for me, I spend a lot of time in here, probably too much, most people think. But I really wanted the first year being in here to understand and hit the ground running and understand how everything works. And so under the management experience, effective direct county day-to-day operation thinks strategically and maintains the big picture outlook, effectively uses resources, manages risks, staff development, delegation of duties, and organizational resources, develops and implements plans, link to commissioners and approve goals, makes sound judgments and decisions, sets appropriate priorities, anticipates crisis, and building contingency plans. And Keith and I have had many discussions about this, and I know that it comes as a struggle, and it does as a supervisor, to most supervisors. So my comment on this is effective in day-to-day directing his employees in their day-to-day operations. However, his weakness is the inability to hold employees accountable if there are missed deadlines, behavioral corrections, or poor performance. When employees are not held accountable, county-wide credibility wavers. Accountability is important for the success of Lander County. The ability to focus on the behavior and not the employee for corrective action correction action is exceptional and must be accomplished. It is an injustice to an employee if their supervisor does not correct lacking behavior. And so I don't want, in this, when I'm directing this to him, I don't want the employees to think, oh my gosh, he thinks we're not doing our jobs and we're all, that's not it at all. When there are issues, I believe that, you struggle with, sometimes it's hard not to be their friend. You're their friend and their employee, and sometimes there has to be a dividing line. And I think that you have made strides to improve that. And like I said, I'm in here a lot, so I do see it, that you are trying to do this. And I know that there's training that has been put in to correct some of these issues. And even though I put needs improvement, I know that you are working on that. I see that and I appreciate that. But for this go round, I'm gonna put it at that rating. And I don't, on the interpersonal skills, I see and I attend a lot of the meetings in here with the public, and I believe that there is transparency. There is transparency, and there is trying to solve problems, and there's a lot of problems. From day to day, different things come up, and I don't see that you're trying to, I think you're striving to make everybody happy. And I think in that, so maybe that it might look that there isn't transparency, but I think that we're just trying to move forward, make everybody happy, and sometimes we can't always do that. But I think you're respectful to people, and I haven't seen where you haven't been respectful. Even when people disagree with you, you're still respectful to them, to the community and to the staff. So with that being said, those are the agenda issues. I'd have to agree that even though I put meets standards, we have to keep in mind that this is my first year, so I don't have anything to compare it to other than doing a little research and finding out what has been in the past. But learning as I've gone through this year that we definitely, if we don't have, it's the people's responsibility to get that information to you. You can tell them we have to have it by this date, or your item isn't going on there. And if they spend the mileage to come out here, that's up to them. We have to have that information before that agenda goes out, because that's just, it makes us look foolish when we have nothing and we have to postpone it. And so, even though I put meets standard, I still, these things that has to be corrected. So other than that, I'm good.
Thank you. Any more, Brian?
No, my thoughts mirror her. Just an individual rating, so it's very clear and for the record. 1, I noted you as meeting improvement. 2 was meets expectations. 3 was meets expectations, and 4 was meets improvement. So.
Thank you. I do think that we've got a pretty good handle on this. I agree, and so many of the experts And of course, mine is too, as far as the agendas, the backup material, the time limits and such. But I would like to say a few things that I do think he does extremely well. I think for where he is, he's really very well organized. But I have recommended almost every year that along with your education, and yes, you have done that so well. I mean, he completed his CPO last year and is certainly taking classes. But I do think you should look at something with a time management class. And I've asked for that before. I think it's really important. I think sometimes when I visit, I feel that you're more in a survival mode rather than actually focusing on some of the things. There's so many outside and inside influences on you. And I think we have to be able to put that aside and go, I'm more focused, these are my goals this year, and that's what I'm looking for. A couple things I did want to share, because I do think he's extremely conscientious. I think you do communicate very clearly and professional in your dress and in your interaction with everyone, the board, the staff, elected officials, and the public. And I think that's extremely important. I have a problem with some of the employee timeframes. I do think you should be more proactive, perhaps regarding the employee training and timely evaluations and such like that. And I do wish that maybe you would share a little bit more of the big picture we get. And we don't want to micromanage, but there are things that go on that we should be aware of that I feel we're still being left out of. So I applaud your education goals and your personal growth, and hopefully you don't have to do that much traveling this year, because I know that took a big part of it. But I know that one of your leadership classes now is going to be on internet, right? So that will cut down a little bit, and I think that's important. But I'm very pleased with what you have done, and how you've done it is as Art says, it's your style. And I think we're still fortunate that you're that conscientious and taking the county forward. I look forward to working with you more on our county goals to make this the best county. Thank you. Any other comments?
Good job, Keith. You have anything to say, Keith?
I appreciate the constructive criticism. Thank you.
So the big focus for the next year, the way I see it, is the agenda. And, we're all concerned about that. Compare it to the school district. They've had secretaries there 20, 25 years. We just need to build up our staff so that they stay longer and they gain the skills that we need. Is everybody done? I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to retain Keith Westengard as Lander County County Manager, and give him a 4% raise. Keith has not had a raise for how many years, Keith?
Last year.
This
year.
Last year.
Last year? Is that what that's what the employees got, was it 2%?
2%.
2 and 2? Yeah. So
I did get the two.
everybody
So
got, you already got
I
2?
got two.
Oh, okay, well,
Along
I'll
with everybody
modify my motion to 2% raise. That would give you a total for 4% this year.
I'll second.
Kathy, you seconded?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? I do remember that when we did that last one, what was the total percentage? It was,
That was 3 years ago, because at the time, I hadn't got anything for 2 years.
okay, so the motion is for 2 and 2,
No,
or just 2?
Just 2.
2%,
Just 2%?
yes.
Okay, got it. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay, and he gets the raise, and we thank you very much, and move on to correspondence, number 14.
Good job, Keith.
Correspondence reports potential upcoming agenda items. I had asked for the interlocal agreement for NNRDA to see if we could get that on the agenda for next time, but I would like to take that off. It's being reviewed by all of the district attorneys. Fortunately, ours was right on top of it and did everything, but I'm afraid if we put it on the agenda and somebody else has got changes, we'll have to put it back on. So I wanna be sure we don't have that on. Thank you. So there's a few things we've got on the carryover, right, and Holly, cooperative extension.
And wasn't there something else that we?
The
Oh,
public hearing.
the, thing on the, for the 19th for the code, the
Public hearing?
the public hearing,
Public hearing for the ordinance,
yeah.
and I think we have some others.
There's several on my board, yeah.
For the 19th.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, we will move into public comment for non-agenda items only. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing and/or attend and make comments on any non-agenda item of the board meeting, if any, and discussion of those comments at the discretion of the board. All public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person, again at the discretion of the board. Reasonable restrictions may be placed on public comments based upon time, place, and matter, but public comment based upon viewpoint may not be restricted.
Or Ramus for the record. So first off, I'd like to say I'm happy to hear that he's got a good evaluation because I think he does a great job from the work that we do together. That job that he holds is a lot tougher job than I think anybody in the public realizes. We don't always agree, but he does deal with a lot of things better than I know I would personally. Next is, I'm not sure where the proper forum is to put this, so I'm gonna put it right here, and maybe this will be a future agenda item for you guys. I don't feel that I'm being heard, and I'm not sure what maybe I'm not being heard because I'm not following the proper process, so I would like a process, of going forward, you know. I'm not here to slay any mud, or to make a big mess of anything. I have to jot down a few notes here so I can keep myself on track. But I think that there's gotta be some due process. I know when I have an employee come to me with any problem they have in the county, that I address it immediately. I feel that I've been in front of this board and to Keith many a times, and nothing is being addressed, so I'm thinking that maybe I'm not going about it the right process. Maybe there's a different process of coming forward, or filing, you know, a complaint, or some of my concerns being heard. Maybe some of it is some of what you guys addressed Keith for not doing in his job is not wanting to speak on things publicly. I know that we're trying to protect this county and not sling mud, as I said, but also in the name of transparency, some things have to be discussed in open meetings, and that's what I'm here for. So, is what I'm asking for me to do my job effectively. I have to have good, clear communication with the people that work for me. And they have to know what the process is if they come to me with a problem. So I'm coming to you guys, and I've came to you guys and Keith as well with problems that haven't been addressed. So now I'm coming to you guys asking for an agenda item or something to take action to show the due process and the proper procedure for me to move forward with some of these things that need to be addressed. Whether that means we sit here in an open meeting and we get it hashed out, that's what we gotta do. But to continue on the way we're going for as long as this has continued on for 3 years now. Personally, I'm tired of it. I'm not going anywhere. I plan on working for Lander County as long as you guys will have me, and I'm happy to do so. As Judy said in Keith's evaluation, we work for the public, as do you guys. And that's what's most important here, is that we're doing the best thing in the best interest of Lander County and the people of Lander County. Not for me, you, or any of us individuals. And I believe that myself coming before you guys and asking for this is part of me doing what I believe is best for Lander County. I know that you guys can't comment back in this because it is just public comment. However, I'm asking for an agenda item on what the proper procedure is moving forward. And that's all I have to say. And Keith, thanks again. I think I enjoy working for you.
So
Thanks,
noted.
Bert.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bert, you do a great job.
Any other public comment? Okay, before the adjournment, I just want to say I hope you're all enjoying a beautiful holiday season, and please remember to pass on your beautiful festivities to open the Christmas season for Friday. And if you can, even attend our Austin one on Tuesday. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
A second.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Brian. If you want to second it.
Oh, sorry.
Aye.
I was in such a hurry. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Sorry. I heard one thing, you said something else.
I will entertain her, so. Oh, she's entertaining again.
I'm entertaining. Sorry.
Thank you, Brian.